Gentlemen, I've been fortunate enough to be sent out the Moza R9 wheelbase and the GS wheel, and I've now been using it for about a month or so, and in league races as well, so now I can share my opinion and my experience with this Moza wheel and wheelbase. Not only this, but I also will be comparing it to my previous wheel, the Fanatec CSL Elite Bundle. I've not been sponsored for this video either, and seeing as they come in at a similar price point, I can be as brutally honest as I want. Now, the first obvious thing to talk about when it comes to these wheels is the amount of Newton meters of torque each one can deliver. Simply put, the Moza R9 direct drive wheelbase is going to give you 9 Newton meters of torque, compared to the Fanatec CSL Elite, which only has 6 Newton meters of torque. Now, being an exclusively F1 player pretty much, I was running about 90 to 100% force feedback strength on the Fanatec CSL Elite. Since moving to the Moza R9 direct drive wheelbase, which is 3 Newton meters of torque stronger than the CSL Elite, I need to use nowhere near as much force feedback strength from the wheel, as it's already super strong, so I'm only using around 50 to 60% instead. And because of this, it means you're not working the Moza R9 as hard as the CSL Elite, which means it's probably going to have better reliability and last longer without giving you any issues. The quality of the force feedback between the two wheels is actually very comparable. I would say that the Moza has the upper hand when it comes to the force feedback, but the CSL Elite is definitely not too bad for its age. Unfortunately, the bell-driven mechanism in the CSL Elite is where it becomes a bit outdated, as it doesn't quite have the consistency that a direct drive wheelbase can provide. The similarities, however, end there, as when it comes to almost every other aspect, the Moza R9 wheelbase and pedals basically stomps on the Fanatec CSL Elite bundle. The Moza GS GT wheel is of significantly better build quality compared to the Fanatec CSL Elite wheel. The Moza buttons are a lot better as they feel mechanical, and they also light up in the dark, allowing you to have a better experience when you're trying to sim race in dark places and you can't see what button you're trying to press. And comparably, the CSL Elite has these caps that always seem to fall off. I assume that if you glue them, that'll be fine, but I've also known other sim racers who have also had this trouble when it comes to losing these plastic caps. The Moza has the best quick release system I've ever seen so far. It takes seconds to switch out a wheel. It basically takes the same amount of time as it takes an F1 pit stop. It feels extremely heavy duty, and I haven't been let down by it yet. And the Fanatec CSL Elite still has the safety pin in it, so you have to undo that before you even consider withdrawing the steering wheel from the wheelbase. The magnetic paddle shifters are a lot better also on the Moza, but I will say they are really loud, so if you have a headset or you have a microphone near your steering wheel, that will definitely pick up the shifters, which can be annoying. But if you're not trying to stream or talk to people over a voice chat, it's not really going to cause any issues, but they are very loud, just be aware. Even though the R9 from Moza is a lot more powerful than the CSL Elite wheelbase, there is a massive difference in the size between these wheelbases. The Moza is tiny compared to this wheelbase from Fanatec. I am shocked at how small it is, and I think even compared to the direct drives from Fanatec as well, the Moza is by far the smallest wheelbase I've ever seen. I was sent out the Moza SRP load cell pedals. Now, when it comes to comparing the Fanatec pedals and the load cell pedals from Moza, it's not really a fair comparison because one is a potentiometer and one is a load cell. So having a load cell is of course going to be much better than a potentiometer, so I will be comparing mostly between the mechanisms and not who manufactured what pedal, because the load cell pedal will give you so much more performance and consistency when it comes to braking on the F1 game, but also every other sim racing game such as Assetto Corsa, iRacing, Race Room, you name it. So at the moment, I cannot speak highly enough of the SRP pedals from Moza. They are really good quality, and a load cell is just going to allow you to be a better driver, especially in heavy braking zones. To actually put a number on it, on average, I was able to run 2% lower on the brake bias and sending it towards the rear, and that's just performance on the F1 game. For other sim racing games, the brake bias and the physics work slightly different, but in the F1 game, having it more rearward and preventing front locking and having more rotation into corners and controlling that slide helps you so much with lap time. I'm not going to speak too much about the Fanatec load cell pedals. You know that the reputation has pretty much been dragged through the mud by Yada Otmir on Twitter.
5 broken pedals. in like 1.5 months. You can't win a competition on these pedals.
As he's been breaking load cell pedals left, right, and center from Fanatec, as that's one of the regulation equipment for the esports. But I do believe that is an issue with the V2 pedals, and I think the V3 pedals from Fanatec are a lot better and are a lot more durable. Another thing to note is that the GS GT wheel is slightly bigger than the wheel that comes with the Fanatec CSL Elite bundle. This can be mostly a preference sort of thing. I think I prefer the size of the Fanatec wheel, but you can select so many different wheels from both of the ranges, from Moza and Fanatec, that it's not really relevant. And I think that I just have smaller hands and I prefer to reach buttons with a smaller radius on a smaller wheel. Now keep in mind that Fanatec also has direct drive wheels in their range, and if you want to go with the DD Pro, which has 8 Nm of torque, which is still not as powerful as the R9, you're going to be spending around $600 US for that, which is more expensive than the comparable direct drive wheel from Moza. But now we need to talk about the Achilles heel for the Moza R9, and that is the compatibility. Unfortunately, as it stands right now, you can only use the R9 with PC, whereas with the DD Pro from Fanatec, you can use that on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. So if you are a console player or a console plus PC player, definitely the Fanatec seems like the right option to go for now. But if you're only using PC for simulator racing, then I would definitely give Moza a chance and have a look at their range and see if there's anything you like. My experience with Moza so far has been decent quality products at an affordable price, and I think we're entering kind of a golden era in simulator racing equipment, where a lot of big name brands are starting to compete with each other, and the more competition there is, the more it'll bring down the price for us consumers, and that's always better for us. And it also pushes the companies to create better technology, better equipment, and more durable equipment for us to use. I wanted to also say that the Moza Pit House, which is the software associated with the Moza wheelbases and wheels, was pretty intuitive, easily customizable on the lights, the colors, and also the degrees of rotation on the wheel and how the force feedback interacts with the game. All very customizable, easy to use, and pretty comparable to Fanatec software as well. My final thoughts on the Moza R9 wheel is it took me 17 laps on F123 to actually beat my time trial time at Britain that was set on the Fanatec CSL Elite wheel bundle, and I spent 2 hours setting that lap time and I only took 17 laps to beat it on a brand new wheel with settings out of the box, still customizing it to my preference. So I think the writing's on the wall in that aspect. I was still building up the muscle memory, as I've never used the load cell brake pedal before, so that was completely new to me, but I still was faster in such a short amount of time, and I ended up winning my first league race with the wheel, and that was a 100% race at Jeddah. So yeah, if it's going to win me league races, of course I'm going to be happy about it, and I definitely do consider this an upgrade from the CSL Elite bundle. Also, if you're wondering what my rig is, it is the TR160 from Track Racer. So far it's been universal to every wheelbase I've used so far. I haven't had to drill any holes for pedals or wheelbases, and it's just been plug in and play with everything I've had so far. It's been extremely sturdy and durable, and I would recommend Track Racer all the way with their products in their range for simulator rigs if you're looking for one. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also let me know if you would like me to try out some more sim racing equipment so that I can give my opinion and help you get an informed decision when it comes to buying sim racing equipment, because I want to be as competitive as possible as well when it comes to sim racing. And I hope you all enjoyed the video, and thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in a brand new one.